What's up, everybody? Ron Harris here with the news that the final men's open bodybuilding show of 2025 and the last chance this year to qualify for 2026 Mr. Olympia is over. The Bigman weekend show was won by Poland's Damien Kuffel, just like I predicted yesterday. And second place went to Mark Hector from UK. Spaniard Pablo Lopez, oh, I spelled that wrong, Munoz, it's Lopez. Roberto Buonomo from Italy in fourth, and Andre Gershner from Italy in fifth. Let's take a look at some of the footage, guys. This is from Nick Strength and Power. Thank you so much, Nick. Subscribe to Nick Strength and Power. It's a great channel. So here is, I believe this was the final call out during confirmation round. By the way, this show just wrapped up, I believe, just about an hour ago, maybe a little over an hour. So around midnight in Spain. I think they got a pretty late start. They only had two divisions, men's open and bikini, I think it was. And they only had 10 guys in men's open. So I assume the amateur stuff must have taken a long time. But here we go. We see Roberto Buonomo on the left there. Mark Hector next to him. The tall guy there in the red trunks, Damien Kuffel. And all the way on the right, Spain's Pablo Lopez Munoz. And Damien, it was just undeniable. I saw the score sheets. It was a perfect score. It doesn't mean that Mark wasn't very good. And in fact, Matt from Muscle Discord, who loves to use the Chat GPT, apparently Chat GPT had Mark Hector winning. So Chat GPT, either you could say it's wrong or the judges are wrong. And Chat GPT is smarter than the IFBB Pro League judges and makes better decisions than they do. Put this banner up again with the results. I actually need to edit that and put Pablo's name, add that P in there because that's not right that I was getting his name wrong. Pablo Lopez. Oh boy, it's a tough one. Okay, we got it. So save and your results. And that was one clip from Nick Strength and Power. Here's another one. That is Damien's posing routine. I'll take this banner away. So this was your top five, Nick Strength and Power. Thank you, Nick. You can barely see the fifth place Andre Gershner there. Actually, I don't think that's even him. I think the last clip I have to show you features fifth place Andre, but we're focusing on the top four here. Roberto was in fourth place. All the way on the right, Pablo Lopez Munoz, Mark Hector. You know, Damien, I knew Damien was going to win just based on, you can't judge by Instagram, I know that, but I was looking yesterday with you guys when we did the video of everybody's final updates, and he was the most impressive to me. Very complete physique, and he's huge, and he's in great shape. So how do you beat that? From the back, you could see Hector needs a lot of work from the back. Mark Hector's back is not a strong point. Moving forward, I hope that's what he puts his focus on in terms of training in this next, whenever he hits his off season, I assume coming up soon. That is Damien's fitness, Damien Cyan Fitness Freak. That is Damien's Instagram. So you'll have an easier time finding if you put in Cyan_Fitness Freak rather than his name. And our final clip starts off with that, and it's just a back shot. Starts off with the last few poses. Look at that back. Damien just clearly blowing everyone off the stage with those back shots. Big dude. It's, you know, just like an Andrew Jack, the height does help this guy. It does make him stand out. He stands head and shoulders literally above the rest of the guys. He is probably a good 3-4 inches taller than everybody else on stage right now. I don't think it was even close. The score sheets indicate it was not close. But if we want to take a look, this is going to go into some still photos in a second, and you can analyze and scrutinize a little bit more closely. But there, look at that. Yeah, so I think there was a lot. There were some the top 4 man callouts. I don't think Andre Gershner was in all the callouts here. Obviously, they knew who their top 4 was, and they stuck with that. Solid top 4, even though this was not a big show. No big names, you know, nobody from the top 15 of the Olympia was in this show. But Kuffel is going to be headed to the Olympia next year. How will he do? I guess we'll find out. What's up, Zionic? How was the weekend? It's an interesting lineup. Good weekend. Thank you very much. Got some good training in. Give second, third tier guys. Yeah, that's a good point. You could look at this as, Mark was supposed to chat. GPT said Mark was going to be the winner. So this comment here, it's valid. Second tier guys, they don't often get a good look. When they go to shows with the big names, they're usually in like the third call out or something, and they really get no love. Overlooked is a term that some people use. I don't like the term overlooked because that means the judges just passed them by and didn't even consider them. When I see these guys that are second and third tier guys at a show like that get overlooked, it really just means the judges are focusing on the better guys. If someone on that someone who's a second or third tier guy is improving and getting better, he's going to become a first tier guy. Like Damien has that potential to be a first tier guy, in time. He's a big guy. Let's go to some Instagram shots from Jonathan Moreau. He is a photographer over there, does some fantastic work, and he took the best shots of the show. So here we go. This was the moment of victory there for Damien. Happy dude, very happy guy. Quads, look at those. I mean, that's one thing I like to see is those cross striations and the teardrop, the vastus medialis. Martin Fitzwater has some incredible detail in that area, and I always like to see that. I think this was a second place had just been announced. Damien knew it was probably inevitable. Maybe they had done third and second, and they were just waiting to yell his name up. But look at that. Look at the meat on that thigh. This is a big dude. Even with his belly sort of relaxed, he still has a flat midsection for a guy who's got to be about 280 pounds or more. There's Samson Dauda, our 2024 Mr. Olympia champ, 2023 Arnold Classic champ, handing out the awards. Top 5 on stage with their awards. Now we can get a look at everybody. So left to right, that is Italy's Roberto Buonomo, Mark Hector from UK. Congratulations to Damien Kuffel from Poland. I did have a grandfather from Poland, so I can claim to be part Polish, part Ukrainian, and a lot of English, Welsh, and all that good crap. Pablo Lopez Munoz, right there. He was our third place finisher. And on the end was Andre Gerstner from Germany. So I had never heard of, before this weekend, I had never even heard of Andre. Bright future ahead of him. Solid physique. Let's see what we have for other shots here. There's another good victory pose for, I'm so impressed with a guy who's got to be 6'2". I think someone corrected me, but I'm going to say at least 6'1". I'm going to say 6'2". If anyone knows for sure, it's so late over in Germany. It's so late in Europe. But like I said, this thing just wrapped up. It wrapped up around midnight in Alicante. I don't know what took them so long. I can't imagine they must have started really late. Is that with Emilio, the promoter, Emilio Martinez? Clearly an emotional moment. Yeah, that's Emilio Martinez. He's a promoter. And we know that's Samson Dauda, obviously. I think he's up to 350 pounds already. Is that what I heard? 160 kilos. So what's that? Nah, I think that's a little shy of 350, but still, it's like 340. Good job. There he is with Samson. I mean, how cool is it as a guy who nobody was talking about? Giles knew who he was up until we did the preview earlier this last week. Yeah, it's already Sunday. I didn't realize I didn't know who Damien Kuffel was. I'd never paid any attention to him. I'm sure he had been competing in some shows that I did a little bit of coverage on, but I didn't notice the guy. But I know we all know who he is now. And there is his victory speech interview. I don't know if there's a translator or how many languages this guy speaks. It's hard to say because I'm sure in Spain there weren't a lot of people speaking Polish. So we looked at this. These are the poses. Yeah, so I think pretty much everybody looks great and the most muscular. So I don't break those poses down too much. The front double. So Mark Hector, the runner-up, I already criticized his back, and that's what I'm here to do. I have to point out what the strong and the weak points are on these guys, or else the average person would just look at them and say, well, they all look great. I don't know how the judges make up their minds. Well, I'm sort of trying to help you figure that out. So looking at Buonomo on the left, more overall size. His waist isn't that small, but I don't think there's much you can do about that. But if he can keep his waist small, Roberto there on the left, and continue to build that upper body up, he'll be a much more formidable character. Mark Hector, I want to see some more peak to the biceps and some more sweep to the triceps, if you know what I mean by that. You know how they would sort of hang down, curve down. You know, they're supposed to be round. Your upper arms and the frontal biceps supposed to be a 1/3 bicep should have a round shape or peak shape to it. And the tricep is supposed to be pretty substantial and sweep down as well. Damien, I don't have too much critique for Damien. I think he's really making the most of his structure. And, you know, for a tall guy to have legs like that, yeah, it's something else. And Pablo, really not much critique for Pablo. I would work maybe a little bit more on the quad sweep. He's got pretty good quads. If he could focus more on the outer quads, the posing looks a little lopsided in this shot, but he's a solid competitor. Looking at these shots, I could have argued him in second place. I don't think too many people would have been upset if Pablo had taken second place instead of Mark Hector. Gotta get to your comments before I get too far behind. I don't want to get too far behind the comments. Mark was supposed to be the winner. Mark brought a completely different look tonight. Looked absolutely incredible, tight and dry. Let me expand that a little more. There we go. Oh, don't do that, Ron. Oh, there we go. Okay. Big Samson handing out the medals. No, I don't think God of Frogs. I don't think he's retiring anytime soon. He's just turning 40 now. You know, he's got a tough road ahead of him to win his title back, but you know, it's perfectly within Samson's capabilities to get his Olympia title back next year. Derek could hold on to the title. Hottie could get it back. Andrew Jack could win. Martin, you know, we got some heavy hitters in this Olympia these days. Dude is taller than Samson. Yeah, you're right. So we know Samson's about 6 foot, but I remember if the shows, the video, the pictures, I should say, from Romania, where Damien was 5th and Andrew was 1st, and in the lineup, in the shots like this, the comparison shots, Damien looked a little bit taller than Andrew to me. So Andrew is supposed to be 6'2". People always argue. Okay, here we go. 10:35. Thank you. 6'2", 286. Write those stats down. That is a big dude. So that is how large of a human being Damien Kuffel is. He's 6'2", 286 pounds. And as you'll see, the condition, the back shots always show the best condition, but look at that. Look at the side shots on everybody. It's a great pose for every guy up there. I don't really have a lot of notes. Maybe Pablo here on the right could get a little bit more ham drop, a little bit more meat and sweep to the hams. That would help out his side shots. Damien's solid there. Mark Hector, look at the hams on him, man. They're like a crescent moon. Great hams. And Roberto Buonomo from Italy on the left also. Nice ham drop. It's a side try. Roberto, I would say, what are you doing, dude? They can't even see your tricep. I don't know if the photographer caught him going into the pose here, because if that's his side tricep, I could understand the judges being a little frustrated because you can't even see his side tricep. Hector, good try. Damien, big, meaty, solid try. Yeah, this must have been before everybody was settled into the pose, because you can see Pablo's not fully in the shot yet. He's still looking down the ground. Here we go, the back shots. You know, contest will win from the back, right? I think Damien did win this from the back. Roberto there on the left, that's a solid rear double. Mark Hector, I would want to see some more thickness there, but he does have really nice detail and separation. And even though his lats are a little bit on the higher side, which is probably why I'm critiquing his back, is just there's not as much meat back there as there is on the other guys, because his lats insert a little bit higher than the average pro. But he can continue to thicken that up what he's got. You can see the glutes Mark brought some great condition to this show. And everybody up there really dialed it in. And I think you'll all agree that this rear double goes to Damien. He's running away with that shot right there. And Pablo looking really good on the right too. Let's see, not expecting what size, but there's a lot more. Well, I mean, who'd you've had win? Like I said, Mark's got some weak points. His back is a weak point. His arms, especially from the front, like in the front double, they're really, the biceps and the tris are pretty flat. They need a lot more fullness and roundness. Strongest lineup, not at all. Not even close to a strong lineup. No. So the short guys are really short. No. So if he's 6'2", I would estimate everyone else. It looks like Roberto's probably the next tallest. He might be 6 foot. I'm gonna say Hector. Hector's probably about 5'9", 5'10", and I'd put Pablo in that range too, 5'9", 5'10". Yeah. Again, let me know, guys, who you think should have won and why. Sergey, friends from Europe, big boys from Europe. Oh, that Sergey Danilov he's a large specimen. I think I'll run back my comment about strong lineup. It might have been a zoomed out shot. Well, no, it's a legitimate observation, because there was not one big name in the show. And on top of that, we only had 10 men in the whole lineup. 10. It's not the smallest show. We have had a couple. I think Toronto had a smaller open men, and I think Detroit was only around 10, if I recall. But we've had some open shows this year with 20 to 25 guys, some really sizable open lineups. Usually you don't see huge lineups in open. You see them in, there's so many more classic pros and men physique pros. Obviously the women's division is like, bikini and figure, wellness. You'll see 20, 30 women up there. Marquez shape is switching off to the left arm, right? Yeah, I'm not even talking about the discrepancy from right to left. I just see a couple things he really needs to work on, because it's a fantastic physique. It's just missing a couple things. And I say missing meaning they could be better, and then he would be doing better. This is a guy that should be winning shows. He certainly has the capability. From the back's name close, team. Yeah, as I said, you don't always win a contest from the back, but looking at this show, I think this show was won from the back. Damien, just look at that. Look at how thick those lats are. I'm not going to say Dorian-esque, because Dorian had more width to the lats, but but this reminds me of like Dorian or Lunsford. You see how thick? It's like two big, thick ass columns of muscle running up and down his back. That would be his trapezius at the top and the lumbar spine. The lats are actually what's on the side, the latissimus dorsi. But Roberto on the left, look at how wide he is. And I see what you mean with Hector. It doesn't look that bad. The left and the right lat, like you can see, the left lat drops down a little bit lower than the right one. So they're different shapes, and that's not uncommon. I know I sound like an asshole using myself as an example, but one of my lats has a slightly different shape, and it's like this. So it does happen, guys. It's just a genetic luck of the draw, unless in his case it's from an injury or something, nerve damage, who knows. Damien, I don't know if he's opening up all the way. If so, I'm not overly impressed with his back width. I mean, look at Roberto on the left, who's I'm sure he's not 286 pounds. He's a big dude. He's probably like around 250, in that range, 250 to 260. But this guy's pushing 290, Damien. But yeah, the way his arms are positioned, I'm wondering if he's not even opening up that pose all the way. And Pablo, good lat spread on the right there. Hard as nails. The ab and thigh. So you can see Roberto has to be a contrarian and hit it that variation pose. Usually people do that when they have thicker waist, like William Bonac does that, hits it that way, the abdominal thigh. But sometimes they just like the way it looks, and they can really show the detail of serratus. And you can, if you pop your leg up the way he's doing there, it looks like there's more volume to the thigh too. Hector hits it great. He's got that space in the middle, not as much as Keon, but you can see that gap there. Damien, okay. So he's really got two giant abs on the top. I know the rectus abdominis is all one muscle with tendinous encryptions that go across and form the illusion of 4-pack, 6-pack, 8-pack. But he has, unless these are two little ones at the top, it's hard to see. I guess he has an 8-pack, but like one's completely blurred out. This one here looks like he's missing some atrophy in one part of his abs. I don't know. And there's Pablo. And do we not get the most muscular? No, he didn't give us the most muscular. Dagnabbit. But let's go back and look at a couple more of the shots, because he took some good individual shots too. There's Pablo. Pablo brought a really good look. He's a young guy. He's getting better and better. And it's a really, I like just the polished look he has, the color, the condition, the muscle detail and separation. I mean, look at the quads. Look at the detail there. You could see cross striations in What head of the quad is that? The rectus femoris, maybe? I don't know. I think that's the rectus femoris. But you can see little cross-striations in there. Nice deep cuts. I don't know who this is. Somebody help me out. I have no idea. Don't know who that is. That is Damien Kuffel. Okay, I knew that. I'll show you. Some of the guys have their names written down. Yeah, so I can identify them. Oh, well, there's Mark Hector. See what I mean with Mark? I mean, he's got big arms, and I don't think he's not going to be able to get a peak to the biceps. That's all genetic, but I think a little bit more tricep. If the triceps swept down a little bit lower, because they shouldn't run the same sort of parallel line as the bicep. They're supposed to sweep down a little bit lower. You know, the bicep is supposed to be 1/3 of the upper arm, and the tricep is supposed to be 2/3. And here, they look to me like the biceps actually might be more than 50% of the volume of his upper arm. Don't know. Is that Gerstner? Yeah, that's Andre Gerstner from Germany, who plays 5th. That's Roberto Buonomo from Italy, who was our 3rd place finish. I'm sorry, 4th place finisher, 4th place. This guy, they call him Nicola Leonetti. Is that right? Is that him? From Italy. He calls himself Stallone or something on Instagram. I'll find it for you later because he's actually pretty impressive. Big dude. Could have been a little tighter. I mean, he's in good condition. We're just looking at some guys who are a little leaner and tighter than that. I couldn't tell you who that is. I'm sorry. Good quads on whoever he is, and see how nice it peaked. That's all genetic, but you see what I'm talking about with the bicep and the tricep here? The bicep peaks up, comes up in like a mountainous shape, and the tricep sweeps down. So you have a round upper arm. Could have a little more triceps, honestly. This guy's biceps are excellent, and the tricep has really good shape, that sweep and everything. But if he could fill it out and get a little more mass, a little more volume to the triceps, that'd be an even better pose for him, whoever he is. I don't know who that is. It's a big guy. That was Brian Drago. Brian Drago from the Netherlands. Yeah, Brian Drago. I think he came to us from Classic Physique, which probably doesn't surprise too many of you. Let's go to leg is the best ab slide shot for Damien. I thought overall, looking at these shots, the lighting looks pretty damn good. To be honest, Damien had a very thick waist. I'm going to put the posing up again so you can watch that while I respond to your comments. Damien has a very thick waist. It could be smaller. It's not huge. He doesn't have, I hate to use Nick Walker's. Nick Walker's a much better bodybuilder. There's no doubt, no question, than Damien is. But Nick's got a thicker waist than that proportionally. But he has a lot more thickness and density overall, which sort of he can get away with it. Mark has very good shape. Tapers on point. Show how old he is. Yeah, he's not a young guy. I want to say late 30s, early. He might. If I say early 40s, a lot of people are going to lose their mind. So he won the British like 10 years ago. He's been a pro for a long time. Did Samson do guest posing? I don't think so, because I think if Samson had guest posed, that would be the clip going viral all over Instagram and on YouTube Shorts right now. So I don't think he did. Yeah, that's a good point, Dave, because any one of you who have had severe shoulder injuries, arthritis, if you've ever had a rotator cuff tear, which he had two severe shoulder injuries and surgeries. I mean, the mass is back, but maybe that does affect how well he can hit his. And now I wonder if it affects his back training, because I'm not loving Mark Hector's back development. It's really subpar to me compared to the rest of his physique. I mean, that would help him out a lot. I mean, look at Damien next to him, is just crushing him in the back poses. These are the people. Those are people that's okay. Go back to that. Do some more shots. I'll go to this one. This is another round. Yeah. I did see AJ had on his page the top 2 routines. So let me go to that. Top 2 guys posing routines. Of course, it's going to be Instagram. It's going to be iPhone footage, but we get what we get and we don't get upset. So here we go. All right, let's get rid of that. All right. So let's start off with your winner's routine. This is Damien Kuffel. Kuffel? I bet it's Kuffel from Poland. Yes, I said my grandfather was from Poland, but that guy died 10 years before I was born. Never met him. So I never learned any Polish or any pronunciations of the names. But solid dude here. To be honest, is this guy going to do any damage at next year's Mr. Olympia? I don't think so. I would say, unless he makes vast improvements overall, like he gets way bigger, and keeps his waist small. Yeah, he wouldn't. He's not going to. The Olympia is a whole other ball game, and this is not a top tier show. It was a small lineup. I'm not trying to take anything away. Congratulations to this guy. I'm very happy for him, and he looked fantastic. And he's going to the Olympia, but it's going to be a little tough at the Olympia. All right, so that is Damien's routine. Let's take a look at your runner-up, Mark Hector here. I had Mark on the Ron Line Report, the interview videos I do, probably about 4 or 5 months ago. Really cool guy. Of course, I commiserated with him about the shoulder injuries and surgeries. Yeah, because I think I was only a couple weeks away from getting my shoulder replaced when we did the interview. So he didn't have his joints replaced. He just had repairs. I think he had torn cuffs, torn labrum, something like that. Very, very common lifting injury. All right, that's Mark. But he's got a really great flow to the physique. Thick guy, good shape. Gets conditioned. He's been in shape like all year. Giles had a tour with Terrence Ruffin way back in when was it? I think it was maybe April, May. Anyway, he guest they were doing these appearances at the gyms all over the UK, and they went to the gym that Mark trains at, and when Terrence got up there to pose, Mark got up there right there next to him, posed alongside as guest poser, and he was in pretty damn good shape back then. He was very close to contest condition at that point. All right, who is this? Well, this is a different version, a different iPhone clip of Damien Kuffel, the winner. Yeah, I'm guessing, the quality of the quality of the iPhone is not like a 4K dedicated video camera. It's pretty good. I mean, he looked leaner in the other shots, so I'm going to chalk that up to the lower resolution on the iPhone, because it looked to me like he was in pretty good shape, really good shape. Kind of an awkward poser. Kind of clumsy poser. I would work on that. That's one thing. Doesn't hold the poses. People like to get a good look at the poses, and he doesn't let you do that. Look at that. That is a brutal attack of mass right there. His crab most muscular. I actually like both of his most muscular variety equally. He's wide dude. Yeah, good job. That was Damien. Who else does he have? Oh, Pablo. Okay, this was your third place finisher, Pablo Lopez Munoz. Yeah, he brought it. That is nice, tight conditioning, flat, small midsection. It's a very aesthetically pleasing physique. I'm sure he's way over the limit for classic. He's probably like 20 to 30 pounds over the limit, maybe more for his height for classic physique. But that's the type of shape, the type of physique that a downsized version would do very well in classic. But he's doing so well in open. And I have a feeling did he come to us from classic? Giles always tells me these stories, and I forget who he's talking about by the time I do these wrap-up videos days later. But Pablo, very impressive. Beautiful shape on this guy. Beautiful shape, and he's hit a few shows, post-Olympia shows, and he's been very consistent with his condition, all those. I wonder if he has that same coach, Francisco Espin, as who were we talking about from Spain before? So we just want to show. All right, that was Pablo. We did Mark, Damien. This is Damien Backstage. They got a little backstage pass, whoever this is. Let's see if he speaks English. I'm curious.
Impressive backstage when you see you in the arena. when people think bodybuilding, impressive, this is the body we think big, huge, good looking healthy, just like you were in classic. You went to bodybuilding.
Wow, he was
you
classic.
Made a big name for yourself. People were very impressed with this physique. You come to Spain. You were one of the favorites coming in, but you delivered.
What's the question?
You were in the 4th place, then 3rd, then 2nd. They put you in the middle. You got bigger. You got better. You got harder. Posing was better. How did you feel when they said you are going to the Olympia?
I don't know what I say, because I'm shocked, but I'm very happy, and I promise my competition and start in Olympia is very good, and I look better than now, and I promise.
It's incredible. You're going to the Olympia, huh?
Yeah.
In your first ever open season.
Yeah.
And now you have a full year to prep for the Olympia. You have like 9-10 months of preparation to make the Olympia. And you're the first Polish athlete since 2013, I believe. Robert Piotowski. This is very impressive. This is historic what you did today, huh? Yeah.
Make it history.
Say something in Polish. To the Polish people.
Kochani, dziękuję za wszystkie trzymane kciuki. Lecimy na Olimpię w przyszłym roku. Budujemy mięcho i wjeżdżamy tam na pełnej. Nie po to, żeby się po prostu pokazać z dobrej strony. Zrobić coś więcej.
And you're most muscular.
Yeah.
You got to see the most muscular before you go. And guys, there's a new freak. Damien is going to the Olympia in his first ever Open Pro season.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you.
First of all.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Good job, AJ. I've got to just make a note there. AJ does a great job going. He goes to so many shows, AJ. So many shows. Leave that up while we take some final comments, because there's not a whole lot more to say. All righty. What do we got, guys? What are we talking about now? Did AJ ever compete? No, you know what? But I want to give him credit because I think I've only met him once, or have I even met him in person? He's always been a very big, bulky, husky, tall guy, but he was carrying a lot of body fat when I first knew him, when he met Giles and they started doing their Global Muscle, MD Global Muscle podcast for Muscular Development's YouTube channel. And he ended up losing recently. I don't know, within the past couple of years, he lost a lot of weight. He's obviously training very hard, and he's got a pretty damn good physique. And he's like 6'4". He's a big dude, but compete, I don't believe he ever has. Mark is 1987, not all. So 87, 25, 35, 38, right? Yeah. I mean, it's not young, but it's not old. It's a really good age. I think we're seeing guys now in their prime, in their 30s, and more of them in their mid to late 30s than the early 30s. We still have guys like Martin's not even 30. Derek Lunsford, he's like 32. Nick's like 31 or something. There's still some young dudes up there. Yeah, Mark has a really nice shape and symmetry, and it's a much prettier physique than Damien's. And I don't know if you just caught that if you were listening, but Damien was a classic pro. This was the first year he did open. He must have gained a fuck ton of muscle in that time. It is incredible. Yeah, Mark has a pretty tiny waist for a guy he's got to be somewhere around 250 up there. You should get AJ on your show. That's a good idea. That's a great idea, actually. Yeah, I couldn't have him on Meathead podcast. See, I'm making a note of it because he's in Norway, which is like 6 hours ahead of me, and I do that at 7 p.m. I like to keep the time. But yeah, I like AJ. One popular women needs a better back. His back's not bad. I think he just needs a little more overall size, a little more. He's got a good amount of size, but with the beautiful shape that he has, if he could keep that waist exactly the same, I'd want to see a little more quad sweep. You know what I mean? But if you guys know what I mean by outer sweep, you see how that round arc shape, we're looking at Damien here hitting the crab. So the leg that it's facing us on the left, it's his right leg. that round bow shape to it. That's what you want. That's sweep. Mark Checker. Was he robbed? Robbed how? Because he shouldn't. I don't know what scenario you would have him beating Damien in. Damien had him dead to rights today. Mark needs a better back, little more triceps, beautiful shape. Absolutely. I don't think he needs to be bigger necessarily. The president of YouTube, Donald Pump. What's up? What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining us. Any women in Bigman? Yeah, actually, I'll go to that in a second. I mean, I'll go to some pictures. Bigman, the same level of importance as New York Pro. No, not at all. No. So obviously the Olympia and the Arnold are the two big shows. They're on a whole other level from all the other shows. Then you have some big money shows that get the big names. That would be the new Pittsburgh Pro show, the Dubai Pro, and the New York Pro. New York doesn't have the same money as the other two, but it's a very prestigious title. It's Weinberger's show. They all want to win the New York Pro. So those would be one level. And then after that, you have like Texas, Tampa, Toronto. Then they're all kind of on the same level. Take any, if you go to the IFBB Pro, IFBBpro.com website, they have all the rules broken down with the new point system, which it's not something that applies to the open men, but in the other divisions it does. And that it shows you how many points they get for placings in each tier show. And that website on IFBBpro.com, when they're talking about the point system, you will see which shows are they consider top 1, 2, 3, and I don't think there's a fourth tier. I think it's three tiers of shows, but they break it down that way so you can get an official, what they consider, the league itself considers. Yeah, sweep. That's if you have great sweep on your legs, you can have your legs don't have to be that big to have the illusion of much more leg mass. In fact, Jay Cutler, I always bring this up because it's so interesting. He said, my legs never measured as big, anywhere near as big. They were a good couple inches smaller than people assumed they were. But I had that sweep. He had a tremendous outer quad sweep, Jay Cutler. You remember that famous thigh stomp picture? That's like the most famous picture. MD had it on our cover twice. Just wanted to title. Oh no, the Bigman is just it's a gym chain, I guess in Spain and maybe Portugal too, but definitely it's a gym chain in Spain. I don't know what other countries, and they're the title sponsor. And that's why they get their name. I don't know why they just couldn't call it Bigman Pro, but they decided to go with Bigman Weekend Pro. Prague is up there now for shows. Yeah, it's to be in that top. So if we're going to say there's 3 tiers, and I don't know exactly what the IPB considers, but just roughly we know the tier 1 shows, the Olympia and the Arnold. Like if you place top 3 in the Olympia, you're automatically qualified for next year's Olympia. Not the case with the Arnold. Only the winner of the Arnold goes, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. It might be, but I think I'm right on that one. So that's one level of shows, level 1 or tier 1. Level 2, tier 2 shows, those would be the ones with big cash prize, like $100,000 or more, which would apply to the Dubai Pro, which is like $140K to win that. Pittsburgh, I believe, was 100 even. Dubai, and New York Pro, even though as I said, I think it's 30,000 for first now. So it's not on the level financially of the other ones as far as what you're winning, but it's very, very prestigious. So everybody's won New York Pro. I mean, oh man, Ronnie won. I'll try to stay more recent with you. Like Phil Heath won that. Branch Warren, Nick Walker has won it 3 times. God, it's a show everybody wants to win. Just put it that way. Impro last year had like 30 athletes in the show, many top guys. In the open men, I mean, I don't remember too many top guys. That was the show I think you're talking about. The Emperor was the one that was 2 weeks before the Olympia that Samson won. I don't remember it being like overly strong past the top 5 or 6 guys, but I don't really remember much about that show. I hold the Arnold's above the Olympia now except for the judging Arnold show. Well, that's a fair point. That's your opinion, and I don't know if the judging is any different, honestly. It's the same judges, guys. It's the same judges at both shows. So if it's Mannion's judging, they're all, they all technically work for Jim Mannion, the president of the IPB Pro League. So the judging, and because people will say, well, the Arnold is judged differently than the Olympia or this show. these judges at this show, they went more for, no, it's all, there are more than 7 judges. There's, I don't know how many, 30, 40, 50 judges, IFBB Pro League judges that go to all these different shows all around the world throughout every weekend during the contest season. But you'll see a lot of the same. At the Arnold and the Olympia, you'll see a lot of the same people because those are the 2 most prestigious shows. So the highest ranked or guys with the highest seniority, those judges you'll tend to see, the veteran judges that have been there. Whereas at some of these smaller pro shows, like I bet I wouldn't even know who a lot of the judges are. But, Steve Weinberger, a Tyler Mannion, Sandy Rinaldi, I don't know all the judges, but it's mostly the same people that have been judging the Arnold and the Olympia for quite a while. It's who does it? Maz Ali is often an Olympian judge, I think. FIBO does have a show. It didn't always. I think there were a couple years when the FIBO show in Germany didn't have a contest, but it usually does. Like we had it this year, and Andrew Jack won. People were complaining because he didn't get into 100% condition for that show at all. I would put him at like 85 to be generous, maybe more like 80 of his very best, which is what he brought to the Olympia and to the Romania Muscle Fest. Senior judges are in the YouTube comment sections. Oh, I didn't know that. But yeah, I mean, it takes a while to become a pro judge. I mean, these guys to start out in judging, and I don't know if it was always this way, but now, because not that I really looked into it, I don't have the patience, to be honest with you guys, the patience or the endurance to sit there for, it amounts to like a 12-hour day of just staring at people and, taking notes and trying to make some tough decisions that, there's no way everyone's going to be happy with. So give it up to the judge, man. It's a thankless task. The only people who are ever happy with the judges and have nothing to bitch about are the people who win and the fans of the people who win. A lot of other times, because it's a subjective sport and there are close calls, there are going to be a lot of circumstances or cases where it could have gone either way. It was that close. Like this Nick Walker and Derek at the Pittsburgh back in the spring, they both deserved to win. They were both damn good enough to win that show. They were on a level that was higher than everybody else on the stage with them that night. And they both looked amazing. And it's unfortunate that only one guy could win, but you can't have ties in bodybuilding. So that's what we had. Derek squeaked it out by a point. If they bring in new and impartial judges, no, I don't think changing the judges would do up. The Olympia's, there's nothing that can be done that's going to really make the Olympia way more popular than it is now. And I'm not saying that out of negativity or being a cynic. It's just, this is not a sport that can ever really go mainstream. It doesn't appeal to people, and you can't make people like something they don't like. I've been in sports bars in years past when bodybuilding was still on TV. ESPN had the show that I worked for many years, American Muscle, and they had other contest coverage and things. So there was bodybuilding on ESPN, ESPN2. And I recall at least once, and maybe it was twice, being in a sports bar when it came on, a bodybuilding show or segment on ESPN, and people just at the bar were like, they universally went, change that shit, get that shit off. They did not want to see it. So they switched it to like literally any basketball or football game or something like that. And it gets quiet and everyone's okay. People just get back to normal. They don't want to watch bodybuilding. Flip a coin for the winner. Well, I guess it's some. No, they've never do that, but that would be funny. We owe it to Ben Weider. I'll tell you, if Ben Weider couldn't do it, no one can do it unless the Olympics on their own just decide, hey, you know what? Remember that bodybuilding thing that guy Ben Weider used to come around, try to talk us into every year? Remember that? Let's give them what the hell? I mean, we got so many lame, stupid sports in the Olympics right now that are nowhere near considered sports. Why not? Why not do that? Winter Olympics. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't matter, right? Or we could do the Summer Olympics, and assuming it didn't rain, they could do it outdoors with, the Olympics. They could afford to have it lit nice during the daytime. You'd have sunlight, so that's going to be kind of bright. But at nighttime, they could really make They could light it just like any stage. It would just be outdoors. The Olympics, the money they have, the budget, those TV, the production crew has, they could do a kick-ass coverage of that. 50-50 Derek wins every time for whatever reason. Yeah, well, I don't know. No comment, because I don't know if that's true. It's once you get to the top 2 or 3 at the Arnold, the Olympia, these guys are so close to each other. There's so many times look at this last Olympia. If Andrew Jack had won the Olympia, obviously some people would have been upset, but I think a lot of people would have been happy with that. Had Hadi won the Olympia, a lot of people that are upset or got upset after Derek won, they would have been very happy with that. And then, Derek did win, and Derek's got a lot of people that like his physique too, believe it or not. They're not as loud as the people that don't like his physique, but Derek does have a pretty substantial fan base. I mean, the social media numbers are pretty impressive if you check them out. Bodybuilding on ice, like the Ice Capades. Yeah, like Disney on ice. Disney on ice, that's what I was trying to think of. Talk today is Samson gaining weight. Yeah, so it said he was 160 kg. So I can't do that math in my head. No good at math. So Samson is times 2.2. He's 352. I think that's the weight that he had stated 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's the weight that he was going to get to, if you recall. It went around all the media outlet pages, like who's best bodybuilders without borders, all that stuff. Anyway, yeah, Samson hit his goal. Yeah, let me go back to some footage while we're talking, because I'm gonna wrap it up real soon, guys. Don't worry. Okay, so here's a call out. Let's take a couple more comments. Yeah, I was gonna say, what did he weigh like when he posted that 2 or 3 weeks ago? I think he was already 330. I think he gets back up to, because he said what was he like 280 at the Olympia. So I bet I think he said within like 4 days he was back, 4 or 5. Within a week, I know he was back to 300. So that was a pretty quick regain of the weight, and then he kept going and going. Yeah, interesting. Let's put that up. Your results. One last time, guys. Here are your results. Poland's Damien Kuffel, winner of the 2025 Bigman Weekend Pro and qualified for the 2026 Olympia. Second place in the blue trunks there, Mark Hector from the UK. Fantastic shape and symmetry. Nice tight waist for a guy who's carrying so much muscle mass. Third place, Spain's Pablo Lopez Munoz. Beautiful shape. Beautiful classic look to him with bodybuilder size. Italy's Roberto Bonomo in 4th and Andre Gerstner in 5th. So, okay. Yeah, so I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Got one last comment. Can you imagine getting that big British food? I mean, you can get bodybuilders eat just bodybuilder food wherever we live. I mean, chicken and rice, potatoes, steak, eggs, fish, turkey, oats, fruits, vegetables. I mean, food's food all over the world. And bodybuilders typically eat stuff kind of plain. So he probably just eats the same way American bodybuilders and Chinese bodybuilders and Brazilian bodybuilders. We all eat the same. Yeah, let me go. Back shot. The back double was a really good pose for these guys today. We'll see. There we go. Yeah. So, okay. All right, guys. Well, that will wrap it up. That's plenty of time that we talked about the Bigman Weekend Pro. The results here one last time. So please, if you're not already liked, subscribed, and sharing these videos, please do that. Helps me out. It doesn't cost you anything. We're doing typical shows this week, the usual suspect shows. Power Hour with Giles Tiger Thomas. We were doing Meathead Podcast. I know who I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask him in the morning, so I'm not going to say who it's going to be yet, but he'll be joining me in Big Mike Cox. And hope you guys can join us every Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. We go live for the Meathead Podcast. All right. Good Sunday, everyone. Good Sunday. So I appreciate you guys all watching so much. And that is, I hope those of you who it was a holiday weekend, I hope you had a great holiday weekend. And then it's back to the grind tomorrow. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. See you right here next time.